Hello and welcome to Rathod's IS. Today in this session, we are going to see current affairs of 4th December 2023. So actually from last 3 days, we didn't post a Hindu analysis because of some health issues. So due to elections, I went to my hometown, and because of changing of weather, so I got serious illness. So from now onwards, we are going to post a daily Hindu analysis on time. Okay, and that too I will be teaching on this digital board. I will be coming to the recording room and I will be continuing the class. So sorry for the inconvenience. So first we are going to see Delhi edition of Hindu, and we are going to pick out the important articles, and I am going to give you how many perspectives you can think about that topic. So that perspectives will help you to write a multi-dimensional answer, and even nowadays the questions are asked not only from one subject point of view. There is interlinking of subjects. For example, there is interlinking of geography with science and technology, and as well as interlinking of that same geography with environment perspective. And if you see here, international relations is also interlinked with geography point of view. So from that way here, you have to prepare current affairs in a multi-perspective manner. So just reading whatever the thing which is given in the newspaper, it is not at all useful for your preparation. So how you need to prepare for current affairs? So we are going to guide. So if you are following this Rathod's IS Academy current affairs, so watch it daily, so that I can ensure you that within 2 to 3 months you will be understanding how to read newspaper. Okay, and you will become expert, and you can link dynamic, that is current affairs, with your static. I will make you to learn that. Okay, it's my promise. So now let us see the front page. So because of the declare of election results in the 5 states, so finally in the most of the states BJP won, and in our state of Telangana, so we had Congress government. Okay, so here most of the articles in our today's newspaper, they are political articles, and you can save as much time as possible today because there is nothing much in our today's newspaper. So everything it is about elections and political party, which party got how many votes, so like that. So that is not at all useful. Just here, if your state is having elections, you have to see, for example, if you are belonging to the state of Rajasthan or Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Telangana, so here you have to see what is the manifesto, election manifesto, and if there are any freebies in that election manifesto, so how it is going to impact the governance and what happens on the deficit of that state. So from that point of view you have to see, and even you have to understand what are the freebies and examples of the freebies from that so and so political party in the election manifesto, and how it is going to impact the life of people. For example, Congress government, it promised that it is going to give the free bus to women. So women, wherever they are traveling in the state, so they can get the free bus facility. So what is the impact of that? And one more important thing I saw in the freebie of Congress government is they are going to provide 2,500 rupees per woman per month. Every woman in our state, they are going to get 2,500 rupees per month. So how it is going to impact? So one side it is going to leads to women empowerment, and another side is also having the negative impact. Yes or no? So you have to think from that point of view. If government is providing this 2,500 rupees per every month for women, means so it will cause a lot for the government exchequer. Yes or no? So how it is going to be fulfilled? Already states they are having a lot of deficit. So if you are coming with this type of scheme, so what will be the impact? So all these things that you have to think from your state if there is election, or you have to see in these point of you have to do analyze, because after clearing mains you will be called for interview. So for example, the students of these states like Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, Telangana who cleared this year mains, means they will be having interview in the month of February to March. Yes or no? So at that time the question will be asked to you regarding this election manifesto. So what is the election manifesto of the present government? So whether they are implementing or not, if they are implementing, how it is going on. So what is the impact? Either positive impact or negative impact. And you have to develop your own perspective. So don't sit an idle, okay, like an idle, right? So you are a citizen. So it is your responsibility to question government. And you are the future bureaucrats, right? So now onwards, in this preparation stage onwards, you have to start thinking in a perspective of a bureaucrat. Okay, so do some research. So just for fun, okay? So this is the front page. So in front page, I found one important article. So before that, please let me know how many of you are staying in Delhi for your preparation. How many of you are staying in Delhi? So please let me know. So here there is one article which says that the report of National Crimes Record Bureau, that is NCRB report, says that Delhi most unsafe city for women in India. So Delhi is one of the most unsafe city for India. So in the same way, you have to see this NCRB report, and this is the first city where it is unsafe, right? So you have to see second and third places to which cities it is given by this NCRB report. And for example, if you are staying in Delhi here, so if you are going for interview, so first question will be asked to you is, so why Delhi is not safe? Or either interview panel may ask you like, what are the challenges faced by women in Delhi? So this question is for 100% I can say. If you are from Delhi, so if you are attending the interview, so this is a question that will be asked. This will be the first question that will be asked by interview panel. That is, what are the challenges faced by a woman in Delhi? Or else, what are the measures you can take to improve the status of women? Or you can get a question like, so what are the measures that you can take for women empowerment? And what are the measures that you can take to ensure the safety of women in Delhi? So like that you can get a question. So you have to know the data, like what NCRB is saying, like, so what is the condition of women safety in Delhi, and you have to think about what are the measures can be taken. Clear? So in this way you have to think from this topic. And that's all in the first page. Yes, you can see one more article. So this article is related to our geography. Okay, so geography comes under paper 1. Title says AP braces for heavy rainfall as Michong intensifies. So there is intensification of cyclonic storm. So cyclonic storm had been intensified in Bay of Bengal. So where is this Bay of Bengal located? So this is Arabian Sea, this is Bay of Bengal, right? So whenever low pressure area is created, let me change the pen. For example, let us take this is low pressure area which is created. As per PDF, that is pressure gradient force, always winds, they will move from high pressure area to low pressure area. So here for example low pressure is created. So from high pressure winds will come and they will try to occupy the vacuum created by this low pressure. So if you see India's location, so India is located in northern hemisphere. Yes, India is located in northern hemisphere but not in southern hemisphere, right? So even equator will not pass through India. So India is present entirely in northern hemisphere. Clear? So what happened? Again we have to see one more concept, that is CF. CF is Coriolis force. So because of earth which is moving from west to east, that will create this Coriolis force. Because of this influence of Coriolis force, winds, they will deflect towards right. So winds deflect towards right in northern hemisphere and winds they will deflect towards left in southern hemisphere. So where now India is located? So India is located in northern hemisphere. So winds they will deflect towards right. Okay, and the winds will be moving with a very high speed and they will be coming and they will be hitting this coast. And because of this, eastern coast of India is more vulnerable to these cyclones. So even we can connect this topic with disaster management, which comes under GS paper 3, right? So what are the steps that you can take during these floods? Like preventive measures. So what are the measures that you can take or the steps during this disaster, and post-disaster measures, rehabilitation, reconstruction. So all these things that you will be studying in this disaster management, which comes under GS paper 3. And every year in your mains, at least one question from your disaster management you can see. Because, why? Why? Because of this CC, that is climate change. Because of climate change, because of global warming, not only in India, across the world, you are seeing lots and lots of climate impacts or the climate related events are happening. For example, you can take wildfires, you can take increasing of temperature, heat waves, melting of glaciers, increasing of sea level rise. So because of this devastating impacts, yes, there is increased incidence and frequency of cyclones in this Bay of Bengal and Arabian Seas happening. So here these states, especially these coastal states, both coastal like western coastal states and eastern coastal states, they have to be prepared to these cyclones. They need to have a well prepared infrastructure. So here this article says that because of this cyclone Mekong, it is going to affect coast of Andhra Pradesh. Okay, so let me know how many of you are from Andhra Pradesh. So here from geography point of view, you can see about some facts regarding this cyclone. So what is this cyclone? In this cyclone, we have normally two types. Tropical cyclone, two types of cyclone, and extratropical cyclone. Extratropical cyclone means cyclones which occur in temperate region. They are called as extratropical. Tropical cyclone means it occurs in tropical region. Okay, so here this cyclone which is seen in this Bay of Bengal, that comes under part of tropical cyclone. Clear? So these are some important things that you have to remember from this topic. And now let us move on. So next article is highest cases of sexual violence make Delhi most unsafe for women. Okay, so if you are talking about different crimes that are recorded here, so we have the crimes against women and we have crimes against children, kidnapping and abduction, crimes against elderly, murders and cyber crimes. Especially crimes against women are increasing year by year. So this blue color is nothing but in 2020. This grey color is 2021. This red color is 2022. So here, yes, in 2022 there is increasing of crimes against women, and even crimes against children also had been increased, and even kidnapping and abduction case. So if you see any crime it is given here, so if you are comparing with 2020, it has been raised. So please let me know what are the causes for this increasing of violence against women. So what are the causes? And please let me know what are the measures that you can take. So I will give you one scenario, like if you are commissioner of this Delhi, then what are the steps that you are going to take, okay, to arrest or to ensure the safety of women. Or else, for example, if you are staying in Delhi, either you are a male or female, so what are the measures which are already going on? So what are the steps which are taken by the government to ensure safety of women? So please let me know, because many of you are staying in Delhi, I know that. Okay, you will not escape. So you have to tell me the answer, like, so what are the steps which are taking by the government to ensure the safety of women after this 2012 Delhi gang rape case, that is Nirbhaya case. So from Nirbhaya incident onwards, yes, government is taking a lot of steps to arrest violence against women. Yes or no? And now let us move on. In the states page also, most of the articles are regarding just elections. So which party won, like that. So leave this paper, it is not at all useful. And even this editorial page also, so most of the articles are regarding this elections itself. So only one article that I found which is relevant, okay, that is India, Disability Inclusion and the Power of Buy. So this article which is talking about persons with disability, so what are the challenges you are facing? And regarding this persons with disability, government already came up with one act, that is Persons with Disability Act. So actually because of this act, it is a first step, it is taken by the government to improve awareness to ensure last mile connectivity of the benefits enumerated for the people with the disabilities by the government. And even that led to the community building, capacity building of community, and even especially here we came with this act, and that led to the improving of awareness even in the rural areas. So now people with disabilities in the rural areas, they are getting benefits under this Persons with Disability Act. Okay, so we have to see like what is this Spark project. So this is very important. So what is a Spark project? So actually here you can get a question like recently Spark project is in use, so what it is? So it is implemented by which and which organization? Or else if you are preparing for state service examinations, so what is the abbreviation of Spark? So in this way also you can get a question. So let us see what is a Spark project, okay? And later on you are going to see the facts which are very important from your means perspective. So if you say this Spark, it is ILO and International Fund for Agriculture Development, and they came up with collaboration with Women's Development Corporation in Maharashtra, and they are implementing the Sparking Disability Inclusive Rural Infrastructure Transformation. Okay, Spark is nothing but Sparking Disability Inclusive Rural Transformation. Okay, so under this project, people with disabilities, they were put in lead and being identified from the villages, and they are trained as disability inclusion facilitators. And after they are getting training, so they will engage with community and the people with disabilities and the caregivers of these persons with disabilities, and they will be also talking with the self-help groups and other stakeholders, and finally that will improve in the awareness about disability inclusion. And even they will be dealing with what are the barriers in this inclusion, and they will be also dealing with this barriers in this inclusion of these disabilities. And actually people with these disabilities, they have to come and mingle with the mainstream. So this is the one important idea behind this scheme. And under this project they will be getting funds to start an enterprise, and this project which will be bringing an attitudinal shift towards persons with disabilities right from societal to administrative levels. So from society levels they will be entering into this administrative levels. So this is the idea behind this Spark project. So this is very important. So whenever you are writing any answer regarding this persons with disabilities, so try to incorporate this Spark project as well. So this is the only one article which is important from our editorial section. So this is assembly polls. You can simply leave this. And in this text and context there is an article regarding adultery. So this article is very, very important. We are going to see this. And if you move on to news page, again assembly polls. Assembly polls. Assembly polls. And in this page there is nothing much important actually. And even the world page also. Here you can see one article. 135 Chinese boats spotted near reef of Philippines. So how many Chinese boats? 135 is a very large number. So if we are talking about China, so this article we have to relate it with aggressive expansion policy of China. So we can connect this topic with aggressive expansion policy of China. So China wants to expand, or it wants to improve its territorial extent. So it wants to improve both maritime sector and even in the continental. Even in the continental sphere and as well as in the maritime sphere, it wants to expand its influence. Okay, it wants to expand its influence. So because of this, whichever the country which is sharing boundary with China, they are having territorial disputes. For example, India is sharing boundary with China. So because of this, we are having issues with China in western sector, in eastern sector and central sector. And China is completely claiming Arunachal Pradesh. Yes or no? And even with Bhutan, it is also having some issues. So here, not only in the continental sphere, wherever the land boundary is happening, but even in this water boundary, that is the maritime sphere also. So whichever the countries which is sharing boundary, so it is having the disputes. And actually in this South China Sea, they came up with this concept called as 9-dash line. So China is claiming this 9-dash line and it comes under the territorial jurisdiction of China. But it is opposing by other countries like Philippines, etc. And even there is issue of 3 islands in this South China Sea, that is Parcel Islands, Partly Island and Scarborough Islands. Okay, so from this point of view, we can connect this topic. And now let us move on. That's it. So this is a sports news. We are not going to bother about the sports. So these are some important articles that appeared in our today's Hindu newspaper, and now we are going to see analysis. And if you want to get the notes of this class and even yesterday's class notes I posted, I prepared the notes, but unfortunately I was unable to take the class, but I posted the notes in the Telegram channel. So if you want to get the today's class notes and yesterday's class notes, you can join the Telegram channel. The link is given in description box. So first topic, it is about cyclone, that is AP braces for heavy rainfall as Michong intensifies. Okay, so here if you see the context, it says that storm surge of over 1 meter expected to flood coastal districts when severe cyclonic storm makes landfall. So whenever the cyclonic storm which is going to have the landfall, okay, in the Andhra Pradesh, in state of Andhra Pradesh, so here it is going to bring a lot of winds and even that will lead to the storm surge. So because of this, that will causes floods. So if you see the details, Cyclone Mong has intensified in its move across southwest Bay of Bengal, and it is likely to make landfall on the Andhra Pradesh coast, that is between Nellore and Machilipatnam. And it is a very severe cyclonic storm, and because of this landfall, the speed of wind will be like 90 to 100 kilometers per hour. So this is the data which is given by IMD, that is India Meteorological Department. So you have to see some facts regarding this IMD also. So it is important from your prelims point of view. And now let us see some important details regarding this cyclone. Cyclone, it is a large scale system. Cyclone, it is a large scale system of air. So it is a large scale system of air, and this air which rotates around the center of low pressure area. So we have low pressure area, and from here the winds will come and occupy. And as I said, in northern hemisphere, because of this Coriolis force, winds will be deflected towards its right side. Okay, so here because of this fast movement of winds with a very high speed, it will be accompanied by even violent storms and very bad weather. And as per NDMA, National Disaster Management Authority, a cyclone, it is characterized by inward spiraling winds, okay, that will rotate anti-clockwise in northern hemisphere and this clockwise in southern hemisphere. So what is this clockwise and anti-clockwise? So I will explain that. So as I said, low pressure is formed, right? So for example, let us take this is northern hemisphere. So from high pressure, winds are coming and winds are occupying the gap here, right? So here the winds are moving here in this way, from high pressure to low pressure. So what happens? So winds will be deflected like this towards their right side. And now if you see, the movement will be like this. Yes or no? So because of this, we can say it is anti-clockwise movement in northern hemisphere. So if you draw for the southern hemisphere, same low pressure here. The winds are moving from high pressure to low pressure. And now in southern hemisphere, because of this Coriolis force, winds will be deflecting towards its left. Okay, so now in this way, right? So this is the clockwise. I hope you understood. So clockwise movement in southern hemisphere and anti-clockwise movement in northern hemisphere. And if you talk about types of cyclones, we have two types. As I said, the first one is extratropical and second one is tropical. So actually India comes under this tropical region mostly. Yes. So here we are going to talk about this tropical cyclones. So tropical cyclones, they are those which develop in the regions between Tropic of Capricorn and as well as Tropic of Cancer. That means, so this is our equator. This is 23.5 degree north and this is 23.5 degree south. So this is Tropic of Cancer and this is Tropic of Capricorn, right? So the region between this 23.5 degree north and 23.5 south, it is called as tropical region. And if cyclones which occurs in this region, that is called as tropical cyclones. And if it is happening in this temperate region, then that is called as extratropical cyclone. Clear? So cyclones, they develop when thunderstorm activity starts building close to the center of circulation, and the strongest winds and rains, they are no longer in a band far from center. Okay, so whenever there is under a thunderstorm activity that starts, which is building very much close to the center of circulation, that will start this cyclone. So the core of the storm turns warm and the cyclone gets more of its energy from the latent heat. That is nothing but, for example, let us take this is the surface of water. So what happens whenever there is high temperature? Whenever there is high temperature, so water which is present here, they get heated. And because of high temperatures, so water will be converted into vapor form. Okay, so that is nothing but the heat at which water is converted into vapor. It is called as latent heat. And this latent heat which is released when water vapor, that is evaporated from warm water ocean. And finally this vapor, if it is moving up along with the warm air, and after reaching certain height, then it will be cooled and that will condenses, right? So after condensation, the earlier water vapor is converted into water again. Okay, so this warm front. So what is the meaning of front? So whenever we have the two contrasting air mass, for example, we have warm air mass here and we have here cold air mass. So whenever this warm air mass and cold air mass are meeting, so the transition line is called as front. Okay, so warm front and cold front meeting is very important reason for the extratropical cyclones. Okay, so they are very, very important to understand the mechanism of extratropical cyclones. So I want to give you one mains question for practice, that is, examine the frequency, causes and implications of cyclone. So examine the frequency, causes and implications of cyclones in Arabian Sea. I am not asking about Bay of Bengal, I am asking about Arabian Sea. How do these cyclones impact coastal regions and socio-economic fabric of surrounding countries? So I will give you a just example like, so how it is going to impact the socio-economic fabric. Let us take, this is the coastal area. I am taking from both the sides, east coast and west coast. So what happened, for example, here in the Bay of Bengal, cyclone came and it is affecting this most of this AP and Odisha and as well as Bengal, etc. So what happened? It will be affecting the fisherman community. For example, it is causing floods. So if it is causing floods, the people from here, they will be moving inside. So because of this, that will lead to the problem of migration, as well as that will be impacting the socio-economic fabric of another area. Right? And because of this floods and because of this warnings that you should not go into the water for fishing, so the fisherman community will be affecting the most. And even government have to take more measures to control this flood situation. And even during the disaster and after disaster, government need funds to go for rehabilitation and as well as reconstruction. So you can take example of Andhra Pradesh. So Andhra Pradesh had been affected very badly after the cyclone, I think in 2014 or 16, if I'm not wrong. So please check that once. And at that time it was that much severe that even we can't communicate with the people in that area. And one more thing here is you can take the example of Kerala. Okay, so because of this Kerala, after the floods, what happened? Even the house, they got big snakes, anacondas, like that. People got very much fear to clean houses also. Okay, so you can think in this way and you can write answer for this question. And next topic is highest cases of sexual violence make Delhi most unsafe for women. So this article is important from your GS paper to under society point of view. So if you see the context, it says that city registered the maximum number of crimes against women among 19 metropolitan cities. Okay, so among these 19 metropolitan cities, so Delhi reported number 1. And if you see the number of cases, at least 3 cases of rape registered every day in 2022 according to this NCRB report. So NCRB report says that at least 3 cases of rape which are registered every day, and you can understand the extent of violence against women. So if you see details, it says that Delhi is the most unsafe metropolitan city for women in the country, recording an average of 3 rape cases daily. Okay, daily there are 3 rape cases which is said by this National Crime Records Bureau. And if you see some more important details here, so Crime in India report released, and this report revealed that the city recorded 14,158 incidents of crimes against women in 2022, and highest number is among 19 metropolitan cities for the 3rd consequent year. That means year from last 3 years, yes, Delhi stood the number 1. And National Capital Region, it is also recorded 3,909 incidents of kidnapping or abduction of women and about 129 cases of pertaining to dowry debts. And if you see some details regarding this NCRB, so here NCRB headquartered in New Delhi. It was set up in 1986 under Ministry of Home Affairs to function as a repository to information on crimes and criminals. So it will be providing the data of criminals and as well as crimes, and even that data will be very much helpful for investigators to investigate the crime. And actually this NCRB was set up based on the recommendations of National Police Commission and as well as Ministry of Home Affairs Task Force. So this is also very important from your prelims. And next, what are the functions? The first one here is it has to maintain national database of sexual offenders. So it has to maintain national database of sexual offenders, and it has to share it with the states or union territories on regular basis. So it have to make the data a report and you have to share the data. And next one is it is the central nodal agency to manage technical and operational functions. So it has to maintain and manage technical and as well as operational functions of online cyber crime reporting portal. And even it have to lodge a complaint or upload a video clip as an evidence of crime related to child pornography or rape or gang rape. And it is also having the responsibility of implementation of interoperable criminal justice system. Okay, so it is also focusing on interoperable criminal justice system. And ICJs, it is a national platform for enabling integration of the main IT system. And even we have to integrate the 5 pillars of system like police, crime and criminal tracking and network systems, and even we have to integrate forensic. Forensic department is very important. So in the crime scene, they will be collecting some evidences that will be helpful for investigating further to identify the criminals. And e-courts or courts, it is very important, and e-prosecution for public prosecutors and e-prison for prisoners. So all these things we have to integrate, and these are the 5 pillars of the system. And the government of India has set a target of second phase of ICJS, that is interoperable criminal justice system, by 2026 with an expenditure of about rupees 3,500 crore. Yes, all these things are very important. And now let us see next topic. It is about persons with disability. So this article is at most important of this day, okay? So you have to focus on this. Already I gave you some details regarding this, but from mains point of view, what is important, that we are going to discuss now. So here, if you see the data, so this data is important, so please make a note of this data. So global, that means across the globe, around 1.3 billion people, they are equivalent to entire population of India. So they are the people with disability. So that is the number of people who are present across the globe with disability. So out of them, 80% live in developing countries and 70% they are living in rural areas especially. And whatever the current systems they are present, they are designed for persons without disabilities. So because of this, they are excluding. For example, if a person who is having a leg disability, he can't get up to the stairs, right? So even I face this problem like, many people, I saw many people like, so they can't even cross the road. And especially before in the hospitals also, so if you see entry of the hospital, they will be having some metallic rods like this, okay, metal rods will be there, that cannot be used by these people who are having a disability with legs. And for this, yes, we need to seek some help, but sometimes we can't get help from these government hospitals. So because of this, what are the public places are there, for example like parks or like any hospitals or any schools, any education institutions, they have to make like persons with disability friendly, okay, persons with disability friendly, because they also are the part of our society. So why we need to exclude them? We should not exclude them, right? Okay, and even those people, they are excluded because of other reasons like poverty, lack of access to educational and opportunities, and informality, and even social and economic discriminations. So all these things are other challenges which are faced by these people. And if you're talking about especially what are the issues which are faced by these people with disabilities, or the first one is discrimination. There is continuous discrimination that is seen in the society, and because of the stigma which is attached to this person's disabilities. And even many people, they don't understand the rights of these people of persons with disabilities, and this making very much difficult for them to attain their valued functioning in society. And next one is women and girls with disabilities. They are at a very high level of risk experiencing sexual and other forms of gender-based violence. And even these people with disabilities, women and girls, they are very much vulnerable. And if you're talking about health, a large number of disabilities, they are preventable. Okay, if they are getting some medical help or medical assistance, then most of them are avoidable. Okay, because by birth, sometimes during the birth, that will lead to disabilities, and sometimes maternal condition, and because of malnutrition, and because of accidents and injuries. So if they are getting timely medical attention, yes, some of them are avoidable. But because of lack of awareness, because of lack of medical support, and because of lack of healthcare system, lack of good accessible infrastructure in the medical facilities, So because of all these things, we are facing the problems. And next one is, even there is no proper availability of special schools. So these persons with disabilities, they need to have some special needs. And for example, if I am facing this hearing problem, means I need hearing aids. For example, if I am not having the good eyesight, means I need to have the book with braille script so that I can understand them by touch and feel. So we need touch and feel type of books. So for example, now this touch and feel types of books, they came into awareness a lot. And now even for the children, okay, who are less than 5 years, so there are many story books, they are coming up with this touch and feel, okay. So recently I came to know about this touch and feel books, okay. So because I am searching something that should be making entertainment for my kids, so in that process I came with this touch and feel book. So I have to book, and I have to book that book, and after getting that, so I will be giving you the feedback like how these books are very helpful for these people who are facing some issues with their eyesight. And next one here is, so these people, they do not have proper political participation. Okay, so there is no proper political participation because there is a lack of aggregate live data. Like there is no data regarding exact number of people with disabilities in the constituencies, and there is inaccessibility of voting process. So even recently we had elections, right? So I went to polling booth. I stood for around 2 to 2.5 hours to cast my vote, and I cast my vote at 4 o'clock 50 minutes. Okay, so I went to the polling booth at 2 o'clock, but there was very huge rush and huge queue, and finally the gates, they were closed. Okay, so before closing the gates, so I cast my vote, and my husband, he cast vote around after like 5:40 p.m. Okay, so here if you see, one thing I noticed here is there were many elderly people, and even I took my kids, okay, to polling station, to polling booth. So even though I requested the person like I have kids and I do, they are crying, means he didn't allow me. And for 2 hours I waited here. At last, because of crying of my kids, so he sent me inside. Okay, so at that time here there were many people were there who are disabled, and even there were old women, senior citizens were there, so they were also waiting in the chairs. But there is no facility like stretchers or any wheelchairs there. Okay, so that is the thing that I found that, so this can be improved by the government, like during the polling in the polling booths. So here, if the people who can't wait for the long hours in the queues, so for them there should be a separate line, okay, separate line, and they should cast their vote first, especially elderly people and people with disabilities. They can't wait for a lot of time, right? Okay, so that is the thing I understood, okay, personally. So I don't know like whether in your areas, whether this kind of facilities are providing or not. So in our village, okay, it is a very backward village. So in our village, so we do not have that facilities, like even there is no drinking water facility. Okay, and there is also a lack of live aggregate data on exact number of people who are present in the constituencies, like exactly the number of disabled people. And there is inaccessibility of voting process, okay, because if I am a blind person, means I can't use this EVM, right? Okay, so there are some barriers in the participation in the political politics. And next one is, there are some preventive actions. So there are some preventive health programs that need to be strengthened by government, and as well as that should be promoted by the government for the young age children. Especially Kerala came up with this early prevention program. So under this program, so we are screening for comprehensive newborn screening program. So we are going for if there is any disabilities or deficits in infants or not, and even we are focusing on the medicine such that we can reduce this disability in the future or not. And even we can focus on community based rehabilitation approach. So CBR approach is needed to ensure that people with disabilities, they are able to maximize their physical and mental abilities. For example, if you are getting some services, and opportunities, is automatically they can improve themselves and they can prove themselves, right? And next one is we can focus on increasing public awareness and understanding of disability. So especially government, volunteers, and as well as some organizations, professional organizations, associations, they should run some social campaigns so that that will be helpful changing the attitude of people in the society towards this disabled people. Okay, so these are some important things, and we can show some movies like Tare Zameen Par, Barfi, okay, so that we can improve the awareness. So one of my favorite movies is Tare Zameen Par. So I watched that movie like more than 10 times. And when I watch movie, I will become very emotional and I will cry every time. Yeah, next topic it is about recriminalizing adultery. So you have to know about what is this adultery. So why we are saying again recriminalizing. So now let us see this topic. So now recently Parliamentary Standing Committee. So now recently Parliamentary Standing Committee on Home Affairs examining the 3 new criminal law bills. So these 3 new criminal law bills, they are going to replace IPC, Indian Penal Code, and next one is Code of Criminal Procedure, and as well as Indian Evidence Act. So there are 3 new criminal law bills. They are going to replace IPC, CRPC, and Indian Evidence Act. Recommended the criminalization of adultery on gender neutral lines. So on gender neutral lines, so here it is saying that we can go for criminalization of adultery. So actually here in 2018 Supreme Court gave up the judgment and it said that criminalizing of adultery. So it decriminalized this adultery. And now again because of this replacing of this CRPC, IPC and Indian Evidence Act, and we are going to come up with the 3 new criminal laws, right? So in that laws it is saying that we have to again criminalize this adultery. So because of this the title says that recriminalization of adultery. So if you see some details, it says that a 5-judge constitutional bench of Supreme Court which led by the CJI, okay, so they said that the famous case here is Joseph Shine versus Union of India in 2018 held that adultery is not a crime and struck it off from IPC. And according to senior advocate, the problem with adultery being in the IPC was twofold. So the first important problem here is it is dealing with the institution of marriage. And second one is here, it is nothing but we are talking now, that is gender neutral thing. So gender neutral thing will not go away. Okay, so these are the 2 important problems regarding this adultery now. Okay, so these are the important articles that appear in today's Hindu newspaper, and because of some health issues we had postponed again this prelims booster course, and from next Monday onwards we are going to start this course for sure. And from now onwards you will be getting daily Hindu analysis on time. Okay, don't worry about this Hindu analysis, that will be posted in YouTube daily. And if you want to join this prelims booster course, so please contact me on the number 8074765513. And if you want to get the notes of this class, you can join the Telegram channel and the link is given in the description box. That's all for today. If you really like this class, hit the like button and please do share this video to your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to this Rathod's IAS Academy. Thank you so much for watching.